I don't know about you, but my legs,
Tired?
they're kind of hurting a little bit. I'm not over the SEMA walk.
Yeah, SEMA was a good show this year. You know, it's always amazing to see all the different builds, all the new products, and of course, reconnect with all your good friends in the industry.
Yes, no, it was fun. I got to see a lot of old faces, met some new faces, and I got to run into some of you while I was out there, so that was always cool.
It's awesome.
But I come back, and is this like a new coating that you're installing? Is
Yeah, it's
Dr.
called-
Beasley's got this cellophane?
It's called drop cloth.
The drop cloth. Okay, so
What do
yeah,
I got
I have
going
no
on?
idea what we're doing today.
Well, let me tell you what I did here. So this is called a Gelcoat test spot. And I've already done
This way.
the test spot and dialed in my process. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull the plastic sheeting off and show everybody just how bad this was to start with. And then I'm going to show you what I did to get these results.
Okay, so does that mean that I got to go move stuff and do stuff?
Ah, you can help me pull stuff off.
So,
you know, this boat is here for my class this weekend.
Okay, well, no,
I just
you
want to
get-
pull the plastic off.
Okay, well, in 1 second, I got to do my little spiel here.
Okay.
All right, if you haven't liked, followed, and shared any of the Dr. Beasley's content, please do so, because the more that you do, the more that you get to see this guy, the better that they do, the more content we make, and it's just like a circle that keeps going and going and going. So please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any ideas for future videos, put them down in the comments below. We're always watching the comments, so that way we do what you want to do instead of what we think you want to do. It's a lot easier that way. I can't read your mind. Can you read minds?
No.
No? Okay.
My wife can.
Well, yeah, well, wives all can read minds. So, with that being said, I'm going to go back over there, and I'm going to let Mike, I guess, play with plastic, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know what you're doing.
So this boat is actually here for the third day of our 3-day class. We teach these 3 times a year. The first day is Friday. It's all paint correction, rotary polishers, orbital polishers. I bring in cool vehicles like this 79 Ford over here, this step-side shorty with
We'll
a
show
ghost
them a
flame
little bit.
job. And but I bring in cool cars for people to learn paint correction, ceramic coatings. Saturday is dry sanding by hand.
You had to think about it?
I had to think about it. Yeah, dry sanding by hand and dry sanding by machine. In fact, I've switched my classes over to show nothing but the Eagle Abrasives dry sanding system. They make really cool tools for hand sanding and machine sanding. And then the third day is boat detailing. So this boat is here for that class, and it's in really bad shape. And I'm going to teach the students that come to this class, starting out with how to wash it and then how to restore it, make it look factory new. But that's why this is here. And of course, before you buff out a boat, you should always do a test spot. So let me just go ahead and show you the before by pulling this tape off.
Right,
This is dramatic.
I feel like Christmas here. Oh, look at that.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Let me throw a light on here. Let me get this one off. And when I tape these off like this, you can see there's a reason I do this. It's called preserving the ugly. Anybody that's taken my class has always heard me talk about if you're going to do this to try to market yourself or to show your products and how great they are, you want to be able to preserve the ugly. So this is what I've done. So here's before.
Ew.
Not pretty. And here's the results from our test spot.
And what is that? Oxidation, staining? What's
It's
all on that?
oxidation, staining, there's salt spray on it, a little bit of everything. Now, whenever I'm doing a test spot, I want you to understand the purpose of the tape line. Okay, so I had 2 tape lines down there. And the purpose of the tape line for me is because I want to show a dramatic before and after difference, both for visual effects, for photography, for pictures, and for video, and sometimes for my students. When I bring a car or boat in for my class, I always want to bring in a dark color boat because I want it to have impact. Say, I want them to be able to look at this and go, wow, look at the before and after difference. I did that. And with the white boat, you just can't get that. So that's why
It just looks shiny.
Yeah, I've been teaching boat detailing classes documented since 2010. So that's 13, going on 14 years. And I've just learned that really there's so many white boats here in South Florida, but they just don't make good teaching canvases, so to speak.
You don't get the visual.
You don't get the visual impact. And it's important when people are paying money to fly out here to Stewart and take these 3-day classes, I want them to have impact not only with the cars but also with the boat. So let me show you. But anyway, my point is I did use a tape line here, but you don't have to do that when you do your test spot. You just have to find a place to work. So after you dial in the process that you think will work over the entire boat, after you prove it, then you can duplicate over the rest of the car. But you just want to find a place to do your testing, and you don't have to use a tape line. The problem with the tape line is sometimes you'll leave a line in the surface that you cannot get out.
And so, one other thing about test spots, always pick an easy spot. Don't go to like the hardest spot.
Yeah. Well, usually what I want to do is I want to pick the worst spot, but I want to pick something that's going to be the worst spot, so I know if I can fix the worst area, then I can fix the rest of the boat. And one of the things I also like you to notice is this is a 23-foot Sportsman center console, and when you take my class, that means when you're working on this, you're standing here comfortable working. I've seen other boat classes where they bring in little shallow flats boats and everybody's all hunched over. That's not a good experience. You can take the techniques you learned on this and apply it to any boat, a race boat like I used to race, a flats boat, a bass boat, anything. But for training, I want you to have a great experience. So that's why I bring in boats that are working height.
You just like working people, that's what it is.
Well, okay. So the first thing I did for this is I machine sanded. Now, back in 2015, I wrote my first boat detailing book. I'm the only detailer in the industry that's written 6 books and had 2 TV shows. But in this boat here, what I did is I documented how to machine sand using the Mirka Abralon system. I also documented how to hand sand using the Nikon sanding finishing papers. And this system works. I see a lot of guys in all the Facebook groups have read this and follow this and machine sand all the boats that they use. But I switched over to the Eagle system for my car detailing classes, and now I've come across an idea that I tested today, and I think I've proved it. But the secret to the Eagle dry sanding system starts with the microscopic hook and loop, okay? And what this does is it's going to keep that sanding disc, which is also very flat. Let me show in here. Look how thin that is. Okay, so then when you put this on there, it keeps all the sanding action on the high points, just like when you're removing orange peel in a car. Gelcoat boats don't have a completely flat surface like a piece of glass. There, it's just completely flat. It keeps all the sanding action on the high points. So here, in theory, what this will do is it'll sand that Gelcoat down and make it flatter than it came from the factory. And what that's going to do is increase the DOI. DOI stands for distinction of image. A mirror is 100% DOI. When you look into a mirror, it reflects you perfectly. And what you're trying to get when you detail a show truck like this 79 Ford over here, or any car that you would have seen in SEMA, is you're trying to maximize the DOI. And that's what I want to do here. Now, in past classes, and what I showed in my book, was using things like the Abralon system. And let me show you the problem with this. Does it work? Yes, it works. It's probably cheaper too. But see, the abrasive particles are attached to a foam interface that's very soft and gushy. And what that's going to do is it's going to just equally sand all the imperfections. It's not going to flatten out the Gelcoat, just like it would not flatten out orange peel on a car. So does it work? Yes, it works. It's messy because you usually do this with water. But I'm doing this dry sanding, and I think from the results I see here, this does exactly what I hoped it would do. It's creating a show car or a showboat finish on Gelcoat. So let's get into it.
All right, enough talking. Come on.
Okay. First of all, whenever you're doing any kind of dry sanding, one of the benefits to wet sanding is because you create a slurry that goes onto the floor. But with dry sanding, you want to do safety first. So respirator, dust mask. Okay, now to do this, what I'm going to use is, this is a gear-driven, that's the CBs, okay, so 8mm gear-driven. You can use any DA sander that you want to, anywhere from a 5mm up to maybe a 12mm. I've shown the Rupes Duettos in my classes before. But the benefit to a gear-driven tool is you don't ever have to worry about sanding disc stalling. As we talk about in the car detailing world, pad stalling. Well, this would be, if this was a free spinning tool, it would be sanding disc stalling. So I don't have to worry about it. So it means you can go faster. And think about it. When I teach my classes, I got a whole bunch of people here working on the boat. But if in the real world, if you on the boat, it's probably you out in your driveway, and you want to go as fast as you can. It's already going to take a long time. Okay, I'm going to use a visual indicator of this cleat, and this looks like a filler neck for gas right here. trying to count these out loud. That was 1, 2, 3.
You didn't say what grit you were using.
I'm starting out with 1000 grit. And one of the things you want to do is you want to clean your disc often. I got to admit, I made a mistake here right from the get-go. That's what happens when you go live. I forgot to wipe all the salt spray off the side of the boat. So I just took it all off with my sanding disc.
Well, that's another way to do it, I guess.
Okay, so that was 4. Let's start again here. So what that did is it kind of toasted my sanding disc. That'd be 5. That's 6. 7. There's 8 solid section passes cleaning my disc after every 4th pass. To do that, just hold a towel. See the gel coat I'm pulling off? Hold that against there, and then always wipe the gel coat dust off here, or you'll just clog your paper again. Okay, now what I'm going to show is a very extensive process.
Multiple step.
Yeah, but when you do it on your own, you can let your budget be your guide. So the next one I'm going to go with is 1200. So we started at 1000, and this is 1200.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to have you do it there. All right, never mind.
Okay.
And make sure you get it centered. You don't want any hook and loop showing, because that will tend to scratch.
Yep. Okay. One. 2. I'm gonna go ahead and clean. Look at all that gel coat coming off. And it looks like this sanded faster, but that first disc, there's actually salt spray everywhere. I meant to wipe that clean with the Dr. Beasley's Prep Wash, so that was my mistake. So that was 2, we're gonna do 8. 3. 4. 5. 6 solid section passes. And again, see all the gel coat coming off? You'll get a quicker and a cleaner cut by cleaning that pad often, and your sanding disc will last longer. That's why you want to do that. Okay, what did I leave off at? 6?
6.
Okay. Seven. 8. And this disc, it's still cutting. Okay, so.
All right, real quick, is there a way to know when you're, or you want to tell them when you know that your sanding disc is shot, time
when
to
it's
change?
Toast.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you clean it and you go back up on the gel coat and you just don't see any dust coming off, being created, that's a pretty good indicator that you've quit.
When you feel like you're sanding with paper?
Yes, exactly. Okay, now we're going to go to 15. These top ones are the ones I use for the test spot. So, boom. Okay, here's my visual. That's 1. 2. Pour and clean. All that gel coat coming off. Remove the gel coat dust here. Five. 6. 7. 8.
Okay, I don't know if you said this, I don't remember you saying it. So why are we starting with sanding instead of just going straight into a wool pad?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that question. I did mean to bring that up. Here's why. Let me demonstrate.
Go ahead and drop your mask. So that way we can hear you a little bit better.
No doubt. Okay, so the way historically people would attack a boat in this condition is they take a wool pad, an aggressive compound, they'd brace themselves, and they would push on this for hours, buffing out the sides of a boat. And the problem with that is, and any of you seasoned boat detailers, you know I'm talking truth here. When you first start out in the morning, say it's Saturday morning, you're in your driveway, you're at a boat yard, you're a professional, just had your coffee, you're fresh, you're muscle, you're good, you're pushing hard. And you do a good job, and you probably remove most of the deep oxidation. But what happens as you keep moving down that boat, you get tired. Now you're not pushing so hard. Now you're not buffing so good. And what happens is the compound you throw up there will darken the whiteness because of the solvents and the oils in conventional compounds, and it gives the appearance that you removed the oxidation when you didn't. And so you get tired, you get misled by what you're seeing with your eyes, and what happens is you buff out the whole boat, and probably the area that you started out holds up and looks pretty good, but the rest of the boat goes right back to the oxidation in about 3 or 4 months. That's why I quit teaching how to use a rotary for boats like this as the initial step back in, I think, 2012. And the problem I had in that class, in fact, the pictures are still around, is I showed everybody how to buff out this oxidized boat, and you see guys holding the buffer like this. You know,
I'm just buffing.
And then you see a picture of me, and I'm like this. I'm like leaning into that thing. So it's just a different approach. You're doing the same thing. You're carving off the dead gel coat, only you're putting that old cliche into practice that everybody talks about, but no one ever shows you how to execute. Work harder instead of smarter.
You mean work smarter, not harder?
Yeah, we're smarter instead of harder. So instead of pushing with the rotary for hours against the side of a boat or on the top cap, you hold the sander up there and let the sanding paper do that same effect. Then finish out at the highest grit that you can afford. The higher you finish out, the easier the buffing will be. And then start up with the rotary buffer. You still got to use the rotary to pull your sanding marks out. But
so basically you're using the sandpaper to cut out all the deep stuff and get you where you're quicker and easier when you get into the rotary.
Exactly. And see, the problem the people maybe new to boat detailing might understand, when you see this chalky white here, on a car, that's pretty topical, you know, you can take it right off. But on a boat, that's porous, it goes into the gel coat. So if you don't get it all the way off, it might look good that day, but really it's gonna be short-lived, and you're gonna be right back to this. Okay, I was going to 2000.
All right, let's go to 2000. Is that
Shout
where
out.
you're going to finish off at? It's 2?
I'm gonna go to 25 just to make it, just to feed the trolls. I did do a shout out to my friend Jason Yu at Eagle Abrasives. I just sent him a link to watch this, and it'll be on YouTube archived if you didn't make the live. But I talked to him extensively about trying this, and I'll tell you, man, this system works good. I think it does what I wanted to do, is create a show car finish on a boat. That's 2. 3. 4. 4
Over there.
and clean. Yeah, I'm gonna finish out high, but I've said a couple times now, if you're doing your own boat or you're doing this for money, you know, let your budget be the guide. If you're doing this for money, you should be factoring in the cost of your sanding discs into the price of the job. And if you're doing it for your own boat, well, it's your own boat. Spend the money you want to spend on it.
Well, boat is break out another 1,000.
Yeah. Well, historically, you know, I've been teaching detailing since 1987, and I always tend to show the most you can do, not the least you can do, and then let everybody kind of figure out what works for them. But if I only show the minimum you can do, then I'm going to leave some people asking questions, you know, what else could I have done? That was 3. If my memory's right, this is 4. Okay. 4 solid section passes to make a total of 8. Clean my disc off. And just a shout out to Flex, you know, I get asked all the time what I think about the cordless tools. These are nice. This got tons of power. No stalling. So just like I always say, when it comes to the beast, and this is the Sea Beast, all brawl, 0 stall.
I was waiting for it.
Okay, I can't wait to do this one so I can take this mask off. Okay. And again, the key is this microscopic hook and loop, which keeps all the sanding action right on the top surfaces so it levels that surface texture. Okay. One. 2. 3. 'Four. You know, this is the first time I've ever done a test spot without tape lines. I usually do tape lines.
Are you getting lost?
Well, I usually do tape lines because I'm trying to create a very dramatic demarcation line. Plus, I like to say the word demarcation. But I wanted to teach people that you don't have to use tape lines in the real world.
Most people don't.
You're just trying to dial in a process that you know works so you can duplicate it over the rest of the boat and get the same results here and get the same results here, here, and everywhere. Okay, that was 4 more. Okay, that's 1. 2. 3. 4. You know, I taught this up in Wisconsin, counting your section passes out loud as a way to buff out a car so you know where you're at. Saves you about an hour in buffing time. And in a YouTube video recently, someone kind of dismissed the technique. But I've been teaching this for like 6 or 7, maybe 8 years. I meet people all the time and say, Mike, that really helps me. I count my section passes out loud. Okay, this will be the last 4. One. Technically this would be 5, I guess. 6. 7. And here's 8. And notice when you get to 2,500, you're really not taking a lot of Gelcoat off. What you're mostly doing is just refining the 2,000 to be more shallow to make the buff out easier. Okay, here we go. Now there is the sanding process that I used on this test spot.
Feel good to breathe again?
Yes, it is. Did I mess up my hair? Okay, so now at this point, again, using my visual guides, here's my cleat, here's I think it's a gas cap lid. I'm gonna go ahead
You could use tape?
I'm gonna compound. Yeah, in my boat classes, I teach a lot of techniques. One is the 2-foot or shoulder width tape sections on boats, and there's a reason for that, but you gotta take the class to find out why. Okay, so.
Where's the teeth?
Hey, I teach a lot of stuff. This is the Dr. Beasley's NSP 150. Now, these are not like conventional compounds. There's nothing in here that's organic. Everything is inorganic. As you use these on car paint or gel coat, you are actually not only removing the defects, but you're starting to build up a foundation of ceramic that you're going to build on with the next steps. They're very concentrated. They come in a gel, and it takes very little to make these things go. Now, normally I show using a strip of bead product on the surface, called using the 10 at 10. But I'm going to just go ahead and put on the pad. But anytime you put on the pad, don't put it on the outer edges, it'll just fly out. So kind of put it in the middle like I did there. Okay, then we'll just kind of, what do you call this? The smushing technique. Okay, let me sure my battery's full battery. Now I'm going to be pushing on this, and I want to talk about this. When I teach car detailing, I always show people how to go up on edge. And I always have people say, well, Mike, you're doing that wrong. You should hold the pad flat. And that tells me they've never buffed out a boat, because there's no way you can hold this pad flat against that and actually buff out the entire boat. It'll yank you around, tire you out, you'll want to give up. So you just go up on edge, and that means instead of buffing with this huge pad, you're going to buff with the footprint about this big, and it's going to be very easy for you to control it so you don't get tired. And then some people that are really smart, to go, well, Mike, if you go up on edge, you're putting deeper holograms in. Well, that's true, but the only hologram I'm putting in is from the fiber. I'm using great abrasive technology. I never use junk on my own stuff, my customer stuff, or in my classes. So the hologram is only the fiber, not the abrasive. Okay, now see how I brace myself here, Yancey? Yep. Okay. Bring the speed up.
And what speed are you on?
I am on 6. With the PE 150, which is this flex cordless, on cars after I spread my product around, I go up to about the 3, but on gel coats I go right up to the 6. Okay. You see how I'm on edge? It makes it very easy for me to control. That was 2. I'm going to just do a standard 8-section pass over this test area. 3. And what I'm trying to do here right now is I want to cut out 100% of my sanding marks. And this is important, because if you don't cut them out now, they're going to be there during the polishing step. So you got to nail this step.
So this could possibly be one of the most important steps.
They're all important.
Well, I know, but I mean, if you miss this one, then getting all the way down to coating, then you're going to have to go all the way back.
You know, a long time ago, my friend Joe Fernandez, he goes by Superior Shine. He taught me something about, when I wrote that boat detailing book, I have a section in there, how to sand down an aluminum pontoon boat. And I know that Joe has worked on a lot of aluminum warbirds. So I called him up and asked him for any tips and advice. And he's really smart. He says, here's the thing, Mike. You know how with paint, like if you don't get all the sanding marks out or all the swirls and scratches out of the compound stuff, sometimes you can kind of clean it up in the polishing step. That's because paint's a lot softer. He says in aluminum, you got to nail it in that first step. If you're sanding down, your first step, whatever it is, you got to pull those sanding marks out. And gel coat's kind of the same way. Factory gel coat tends to be really hard. Okay, 4 more. And on the tops here, look, I shove it up in there, you know? I always teach this in my class because I come back and all the sanding marks are still up there. I shove it up there against that rub rail. I'm making this flex work. You know, this is the prototype that Flex gave me about, I don't know, 6, 7, maybe 8 years ago. I have buffed out so many cars and boats with this thing, and it's still going strong. And that's not normal for prototypes. My biggest mistake with this was I never made a list of all the different cars and boats I've buffed out using this prototype, because it's extensive. My bad. Was that 6 or 7?
I have no idea.
I think it's 6. That's why I count my pads that loud.
Well, you're also talking, so.
Yeah. We'll call that 6. 7, last pass.
And I noticed you are rotating the polisher, so you're doing a crisscross with the way that you're putting in the hologram.
Crosshatch by 50%, easy. And as you're doing this, you always want to clean that pad often. So on the PE15, I bring it up to the 6, lock that against my leg, get your spur, and just draw that out. Don't put it over here, throw it up and hit you in the eye. Woo! So put it over here, and I go all the way to the back, all the way to the center. I want to get that thing clean. Here's something most people have never shared with anybody, but if you get one little abrasive particle in this or a foam pad on a rotary and buff something out, you're going to get what's called an arc scratch. It's usually not a perfect circle, but it's an arc scratch. It's like an arc. And you're going to hate your life because you got to rebuff the whole thing.
That's what I said, have fun.
Okay, so let me wipe this off. Oh, towels are down here.
All right, and do you have a light so we can...
Yeah, let's take a look how this is going to have this is going to have holograms, but the goal is to get rid of all the sanding marks. Okay.
All right. All right. Back towards you.
Okay.
Towards the back wall. Back wall. Keep going. Right there.
Okay. Go up and down?
Yeah.
Okay, so you see the holograms. That's normal. Those are from the fibers. But when I looked at it, all the sanding marks are gone, and that's my goal. 100% defect. Let you do 100% defect removal. Okay, you got to nail this in the first spot. But those are called holograms. And you know, in my first how-to book, when you write a how-to book, you know, you want to try to be as accurate as you can. And I defined holograms as a specific scratch pattern instilled into the surface, whether it's car paint, aluminum, glass, anything, by the action of a single spinning pad, usually fiber, but you can do it with foam. But it's distinct to a rotary polisher. You cannot put holograms with an orbital. That's called micromarring. So it's important that we always know what we're talking about and what the meaning behind the words is, so we're on the same page. Okay, for the next step, this is the beast.
And one of the originals.
It is one of the originals. You can tell by the exposed aluminum head. And has a lot of power. Gear driven. I always see guys on the internet call it a forced rotation. And I just think you guys have no idea what you're talking about. This is forced rotation. See, it's rotating, forced rotation. This is forced rotation, forced oscillation. They always forget to add those other two words. So they talk about a tool like this as though it's a rotary.
Easier to say.
Ed, I know.
No, it's easier to say gear-driven orbital.
Okay, so now we're going to switch over to the NSP95. And one thing I just kind of want to point out, again, same idea. These are very concentrated. They're in a nano gel. It's interesting how they make the nano gel. What happens is they create the gel, they add the abrasives, and it equally disperses the abrasives throughout the gel, and they stay that way in suspension. A lot of compounds and polishes, you got to shake it up because they settle out, but these don't do that. And because they're very thick, they got to put them in a tube, or you can buy them a 32-ounce bag. You see those bags over there? Okay, so this is a foam. This is a light foam cutting pad, a beast.
And all right, why would you not use a heavy foam cutting pad?
Well, a lot of times in my classes I do, but I already tested this because I wanted to create more of a show car finish. So as long as it pulls out the hologram and leaves a clear finish, then you always want to try to use the least aggressive process, which includes the pad, the tool, the pad, the technique, and the product. Okay.
And pushing hard?
I am pushing hard. The reason I'm pushing hard is I'm pushing those abrasives into the gel coat so they cut. Think of an ice cream scooper. Scoop, scoop, scoop. They're scooping out little chunks of the gel coat to level that surface and pull the holograms out. And I'm going to make a standard 8-section section pass. All right. 1.
Notice he's using his body weight and his legs to move the polisher around. If you watch him, he'll shift his weight by the way that he's pushing up against the side of the boat. Use all the muscles, not just your arm muscles.
5. 6. 7. And now I'm going to reduce my pressure because polishing paint or polishing gel coat is an art form. It entails the human nature or the human characteristics of care and passion. It is not a step 1, step 2, step 3 grinding process.
Story time with Mike Phillips. Grab your light after you wipe. Oh, I see the light.
Okay.
I'll run that.
And this is where when you do things live, like you hope it looks good. Oh, this looks good. Otherwise I look like a fool. Let me give a warm wipe. Okay.
All right.
Usually I hold the light back a little further because it blows out is what it does. It kind of blows everything out.
I think you still got to wipe some stuff off. I see residue.
That's what I say. Yeah, anyway, all the sanding marks are gone, and that is really about as good as you can get gel coat. The thing about gel coat is you're buffing on resin and pigment. Now with the clear coat finish, there's no pigment, so it's just pure resin. So that's why you're able to get a better looking finish on a car paint than you can on a gel coat. So then the next step would be to apply the coating. Now this is the Dr. Beasley's Boat Coat Pro.
Okay, let me come in.
And I'm just going to apply this like a conventional ceramic coating.
A lot, a little.
Just going to dab some onto this applicator. Whoop.
That's a lot.
I didn't hold that up there. That's a lot. Now there is really no lag time or any flashing time. You apply this normal 4 section passes and then immediately wipe it off. That was 3. Here's 4.
And the reason why you do 4 so that we get ample coverage?
Yeah, just uniform coverage, yeah. If you don't wipe this off really fast, it does tend to start to set up. And then in my classes, what we do is we apply 3 applications with about 30 minutes in between each application. Okay, let me fold to a clean side. Okay.
Alrighty then.
And there's
After.
before and after.
Come up a little bit.
And more before.
Let me see.
Let you do it.
Yes, and this is very bad. Bad.
That is how you dry sand, compound, polish, and ceramic coat a neglected gel coat boat with deep oxidation. The only thing I probably could have done better is this. This boat has not been washed. I'm saving this for my class to wash. And I needed to clean off all that salt spray, so it kind of interfered with the first sanding grit, the 1000.
So basically the first thing you want to do is you want to
wash the boat. Wash the boat.
All right, we're on.
Anyway, there we go.
We're on that camera.
Okay.
Are you tired?
I am tired. That's work. I've been working all day.
Did you work?
Yeah. This day started early, and there's been no downtime. Well, I'm setting up for this big 3-day class. There's a lot of things that people don't see behind the scenes, like getting all the tools, getting all the extension cords. Shout out to Lake Country. They sent me 10 of these and 6 of their locking power cords. I already have 4, so I got 10 altogether. This is a 10-person class, so I have enough power cords for everybody, enough inspection lights for both car detailing and boat detailing. So Bob Myers and everybody there at Lake Country, thank you, because they sent this to me during SEMA to make sure they'd be here in time for this class. And you know, teaching this class, this is like 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. And I just appreciate everybody that's attending, because I know there's kind of a time crunch with the holidays coming up real quick. But our next class isn't until February. And I just did not want to wait all the way to February to teach our first basic class here at the new Dr. Beasley's operating room, OR, in sunny Stuart, Florida.
Okay. Well. You good?
I'm good.
All right. Do you need water? Do you need your drink?
I'm good.
I don't know where your drink's at.
I'm good.
Okay, so let's switch over here. And hi, I'll be your voice from the nether for the next remaining of the show. Let me get some of the stuff situated here. Let's go through some comments. And Grant, no, I'm going to be on you.
Okay.
Grant, I did not spill NOS on my keyboard, but thank you for tuning in. And Director of Success, boat, bust out another 1,000. That is what they stand for. Or Jeep, just empty every pocket. Finding out about that one.
That's a good one. I've never heard that one before.
All right, we got Sam Dez. Hey all, hello from Long Island, New York. Then he comes back in. Do you guys have an estimate on when your next set of classes is after November?
The dates, I can't rattle them off from memory, but the 3-day classes I teach here are always the same time every year for the last 15 years. February, May, September. So it's in the February one is after Mobile Tech Expo. So it's probably like the second weekend, like the 16th, the 17th, and 18th, whatever that would be. But you can go to drbeasleys.com. Up on the top, there's a navigation text link that says detailing classes. And I was checking it yesterday. It said the schedule for 2024 is coming soon. So any day they'll get that up there. It is on my forum, the Mike Phillips forum. You can actually find it up there. I posted the schedule for all 10 of our classes. There's going to be 3 here and 7 around the United States.
Okay.
Good question. Thank you for asking.
Thank you for asking. Thank you.
And I've already lined up boats for that class and cars. And you know, one of the things I always do, Yancey, is I bring in vinyl top cars and cloth canvas top cars and teach how to correctly clean and protect vinyl, and more importantly, how to correctly clean and protect canvas tops. So for this class, we got a 2014 Mercedes-Benz. I think it's dark blue with the black canvas top. So that's one of the things that I teach in this class, besides glass polishing, dry sanding, rotary buffers, orbital polishers, paint correction, ceramic coatings, machine scrubbing tires, engine detailing. I mean, pretty much the only thing we don't really cover is interior detailing. And I used to cover that all the time when I taught all those classes at AutoGeek. But here's the thing, is most people, they just don't get excited to clean carpet. You know, is it important? Sure, it's important. But I decided I was going to let someone else come up with a business model that was profitable to teach the interior detailing, because if you just put up a page for an interior only class, no one's going to sign up. So it's not a profitable business model. So I like to do what's fun. Everybody loves buffing on boats, buffing on cars. That's what I like to do. I'm known as a paint polisher. So that's kind of my forte.
Okay. For those that haven't been watching the screen for like the last Mike little explanation of everything, we're going to go into the question that I had up.
Okay.
When do you wet sand? When do you wet sand? I would like more explanation of these procedures and when you need to do what and which is first. I can sand a little, just want better explanation.
And I covered that in the video already. In my original book, which was published in 2015, I covered machine wet sanding and hand wet sanding, okay? Covered it in depth. And what I said in the beginning of this video was I wanted to try dry sanding for a specific purpose. And that purpose was because of the way the interface pad is made on the Eagle Abrasives interface pads, that the hook, you got hook and loop, the hook is microscopic, the discs are thin. This keeps the sanding action very on just the top surfaces. So it's going to level that surface and make it as flat as it can, versus things like what most guys use and what I showed in my original book. So there's nothing wrong with it, but it's not going to do as good a job. So this is the Mirka Abralon, and it's got this foam cushion right next to the abrasives. And what it does is it sands in and out all the surface texture. So it doesn't really ever level it. So you're not going to get that maximum DOI like you would look for in a show boat. But if you're not really trying to create a show car finish on a boat, by all means, you can use the Mirka or any wet sanding discs by machine.
So to put it to you another way, he's trying to up his game. By dry sanding, he wants to bring it to the next level. so that way it produces better results. But also, if you're doing this for money, make sure that you charge for it because there's more expense.
Both approaches will work. This is just a video today on showing how the dry sanding approach, and like Yancey said, taking your results to a higher level. And I've always kind of noticed in the social media world, you know, if you don't do a really great job, there's all these trolls out there that'll cut you down. So instead of like feeding them, I went to a higher level. I want to show machine dry sanding using the Eagle abrasive system.
Okay.
Good question. Thanks for asking that. I clarified it because I also covered that in the beginning of the video.
No, it's all right. You always can go back. Yeah. All right. Let's go to Camille. Mike and Yancey, good to see you live streaming again.
It's good to be back.
I think this is our 8th live video.
I don't know.
Yeah, so it's every Wednesday we're on East Coast time, so 4 p.m. East Coast time, except for the week after Thanksgiving, I'm going on vacation, so there won't be any live stream. If there will be, it'll be from me live at the beach.
And his suitcase might be a little bit heavier because I might pack away in there, so you never know. All right, let's back to the questions. Sam Des coming in here again. Which machine are you using? Just go through all the machines that you use in the order.
For machine sanding, I was using the C Beast, which stands for cordless beast. It's the cordless version of the corded beast, and I am the person that named it because I did not want to. I type a lot of articles. I didn't want to type out cordless beast, cordless beast. So when they first launched it, I just nicknamed it the C Beast, and the company Flex now officially calls it the C Beast. But it's an 8mm. Gear-driven orbital, not random orbital. It has a fixed pattern. Then to pull the sanding marks out, I use the Flex PE15. This is my personal prototype when they first launched the tool, still going strong after about 8 years. Rotary polisher, pull out all the sanding marks. Then to polish, back over to the corded version, because now I want all the power I can get. Again, 8mm direct drive or forced.
Okay, now, let's just stop right there. Why would you use the cordless and not the actual?
Oh, I could have done either one. Okay. Yeah. The only reason I use the cordless to sand versus the corded, which would be faster because it has higher OPM, higher RPM, is just for the freedom of not having to cord.
Okay.
And because this
convenience.
I don't need as much power to sand. I need the more power to polish. So convenience, yeah. See, you can take like 8 of my sentences and sum it up in one word.
Work?
Word.
Okay, here we go. We got another one.
I could have used DeWalt or Rupes, anything. I got Porter cables over here.
So. All right. Ronaldo. Hey, Ronaldo. Hey, Mike and Yancey. You just answered my question. What grit sand he was using. And just give the order of sandpaper.
I started out with 1,000, then 2,000, or 1,000, then 12, then 15, then 2, and 25. And in the real world, if you really wanted to knock a boat out like this, you could hit it with one. You usually got to go pretty low for oxidation like this. I know in the Facebook boat groups, you guys talk about going with 600 and 800. I personally don't like to go that deep. I find I can get pretty much any boat I bring in for a class with 1,000. Now maybe some of these guys need something, if they're really working on something neglected, more aggressive, of course, then use it. But you could probably just have done this in 1,000 and 2,000 and then start pushing hard. The higher you sand out, the faster and the less work you got to do with the rotary. So it's really, I always like to say, let your budget be your guide, or let your customer's budget be your guide.
All right, sounds like a plan. Kirby.
Hey, Kirby.
Did you see Kirby out there?
Oh, yeah. We hung out quite a bit. He's awesome.
I didn't get to see Kirby.
We went to the Rennie Doyle event there together.
I did see him there.
Yeah, he was there.
Kirby, I'm sorry I missed you, buddy. I was looking for you. All right, but here's your question. Could you use the Flex orbital sander like you did on cars?
You know, I have over here, I have the Flex cordless sanders. They're technically wood sanders. And the orbit stroke, I think, is it's pretty small, like 3 millimeters, maybe 2 millimeters. So it would be considered a finishing sander for doing final work, and it's for wood. I did show these in my last class, machine sanding paint, okay? And the benefit just being no cord. And the good news is stay tuned, because this was for the wood industry. There are some sanders coming out for the automotive industry, and the orbit stroke lengths will be more tuned for removing orange peel or refining hand sanding scratches. And this is what we'll use this Saturday on the 1965 Ford Galaxy. So we'll start out block sanding, by hand. Again, the Eagle abrasives, so block sanding with 1500, and we'll come back with 2500 by machine, refine our sanding marks. Then we'll go to the rotary polisher, start pulling out our sanding marks, orbital polisher, then ceramic coating. So I tell you, these 3-day classes I put on here, or any of the classes at Dr. Beasley's, is there any chairs here, Yancey?
No.
There's no chairs. They're all hands-on. You work on the coolest stuff.
Okay. I just noticed the time, so let's try to fly through some of these. Sorry, peoples. All right, Grant coming in here. Gear driven for boats makes life so easy.
Yes.
All right. Rick Smith came back on. In my previous comment, I meant dry. When do you dry and when do you wet sand?
Well, and I answered that question.
Yeah, I know.
You can do either one. You choose to wet sand the boat or choose to dry sand the boat. Or you can start out wet sanding and switch over to dry sanding. The primary difference is the sanding technology. With the Eagle Abrasives dry sanding system, you're going to get a flatter surface, so it's going to look better. Now, if you're just working on a fishing trawler, use Mirka. Who cares how good it looks, But if you're working on something that's yours, the other thing you got to remember is my good friend Dr. Gadusi shared this with me. Dr. G. One time he said, Mike, a flatter, smoother surface will hold up longer than a textured surface. And I thought, wow, that's genius. It's so simple, but until someone tells it to you, you don't know why. And that's why years ago I wrote this book about buffing out boats with wool pads on rotary only. And what you do is you leave a hologram scratch in the side of the boat, which opens up almost like 2 times the surface area, and it's going to oxidize very fast. So with the Eagle dry sanding system, you're able to get a flatter surface. It's going to hold up longer. With the Mirka or the Norton Ice or any of the other foam-backed sanding discs, you're just not going to get as nice a finish, but it'll do the same job. So it's really up to you, your budget, and what are you trying to do? Create a show car finish on a boat, or you just want to get the old, fishing trawler shined up again. It's up to you. I've taught the Mirka for the last, since 2012, so 11 years, So there's nothing wrong with either system.
Okay, then let's come back in here. Bernardo coming back in. What speed setting was Mike using during the polishing step?
I was on 6. If the Beast went to 7, I'd be on 7. Okay. I don't think I ever use this for any other speed, because for me, the reason I like this is because how fast you can get a job done, but that has to do with the speed. And because it has so much power, the thing a lot of people don't understand is you can push those abrasives into the surface and make them do their job harder, faster. With free spinning tools, you kind of have to let them float there and do their own thing, and it takes longer.
Float there.
Float there.
I like that. Float there.
Float there.
Okay, here we go. This is actually a really good question, I thought. Optical clarity detailing. Thank you for your question. What's your thoughts on how many passes for each grit? Same 8 passes for all?
Well, here's the deal. That's a good question. There is no pat answer, but the 8-section pass section is just a good rule of thumb. If you start with 1,000 grit like I did here and sand with good 8-section passes, whether it's Mirka or anything else, you're pretty much guaranteed to remove all the deep oxidation. Then it's just a matter of refining those sanding marks to something shallow at each step. But you got to make sure you do it uniform as you progress through the different grits. Otherwise, when you go to polish it out, you're going to see sanding marks that you didn't get out. So there is kind of an art to sanding. But 8-section passes just get general rule of thumb.
Okay. Yeah. Then that will segue into this one. Prestige Auto Spa detailing. Would this process go for RVs that are gel coat too?
Yeah, but the one thing I would always want to check about an RV is the gel coat thickness. Like most boats in the industry average anywhere from a low of say 20 up to say 30. Your higher end boats probably have a thicker gel coat. Your lower end boats probably thinner because it's just mass production boat building. But as long as you're using common sense, the more important thing is after you do something like this and it's your boat, take care of it so you don't got to do it again. If it's for a customer, tell them to take care of it so you don't got to do it again. It's kind of like people say, how many times can you compound a car? Well, technically you should do it once and then take care of the car so you don't got to compound it again.
All right, and actually what do you call it? Bryant, as I go down here, he had similar process for RVs, so that was a popular one. Had a couple of people asking about that.
This would be a good, the Eagle Abrasives by Kovacs dry sanding system would be a great system for a clear coated RV. So,
I have no idea what he just said. Sorry, Sam. When I get these, it's after the fact, so I don't know what He was wanting me to repeat. Have you repeat? All right. We have Sarah here. Is there a certain cleaning process you use on polishers after dry sanding? So I guess cleaning up the polisher.
I wipe them down with whatever's closest to my hand.
You could use air?
Yeah.
Air
yeah, blow them out. But, my joke is I always use whatever's close to my hand. It could be glass cleaner, all-purpose cleaner, spray detailer. But I do wipe the tool bodies down and try to keep them clean. So with dry sanding, they don't get so dirty. With machine wet sanding on a boat, all my tools just get covered with slurry. So it's a whole couple hours to get them cleaned up so they're, they look good.
All right, here's Prestige coming back in here. Always good to see some training from Mike. Okay, good thing he has a big garage door. Now his head is going to be able to fit out. Just joking. Okay. This is actually really good, and I'm kind of curious if, you show that. Why are you not showing that? Okay, there we go. Grant Hawtree coming in here. Mike, what's a good wash product for stripping the salt water off boats to start with? Alkaline, acid-based washes, cleaners?
Before this class started, I actually called my son-in-law, who works at a boat building company and owns his own custom boat he builds. And he says if just a normal high-quality car wash soap isn't doing it, you might need to use an acid-type cleaner.
You need something to actually eat.
Yeah, something like you'd also just the same kind of idea of using it on wheels with a lot of brake dust, something that would help the salt to release from the surface. But I have to tell you, in all the years, this thing is actually coated with salt spray. You can
hear it.
You can hear it. And again, I should have wiped this down before I started sanding because I toasted my 1000 grit. But when I did go to wipe this, I used it's behind you there. It's called Prep.
Marine Decon?
No, not that. No, it's called Prep Clean.
Prep Clean. Yeah, I'm not seeing
it's over here somewhere.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Anyway, it's a spray-on detailer. There it is back there. Prep Wash. Yeah.
Prep Wash.
This is actually a product that Dr. Beasley made for me, like 6 or 7 years ago. He noticed that whenever I did a prep wash, I didn't like using all the different waterless washes out there because usually they're just not what I want to get the car clean. I don't want to get it clean and add like hydrophobic protect all this stuff. I just want to get it clean. So he made this to do pure cleaning. When I did the test spot over here, I wiped this down first. When I did over here, I forgot that stuff because this was not on my cart. So I toasted my 1000 grit. So I didn't get as good of results as I did over here. But the bigger picture point is wash the boat first. And I was going to say that in all the years I've been detailing boats, we've washed them, they have salt spray. I've always been able to get everything off with just a quality car wash soap. But I do understand that some people let this stuff bake on the sun.
And it all depends on how neglected the boat is. So,
man, I tell you, if it's really bad like that, it just shows you what the owner's not taking care of their boat. Most good boat owners, when the boat comes off the water, they wash it right then and there. Okay?
Okay, here's a good question, a very good question. Mauricio Hernandez. Any advice on pricing based on the boat's condition and considering the sanding stages?
I really can't speak to that. I don't do this professionally. I like to teach the technique. But what I usually do is I go up to, there's a bunch of boat detailing Facebook groups. And if you just go up there and ask what other guys are charging, you can get a pretty good ballpark idea of what you need to be charging. I would say this is really hard work, and the cost of your equipment and your supplies, you need to factor that in.
Yeah, I can give you a little insight on that. I work with Scott Campbell. He's known as the boat guru for Optimum, and we were talking one night when I was up there doing some filming with him, and he was asking me, "Is like what cost does to get your boat detailed down in Florida?" Down here in Florida, it's usually $100 a foot is a general base guideline. Then you can go up from there. He's in Tennessee, and theirs is more like 50 to 60 per foot. So it all depends on where you're at in the United States too, and what your customer base would pay for. Yeah. So like Florida, we have a lot of disposable income down here and a lot of boats. We're able to get the higher premium, I think probably out the same as out in California, but like if you're in the North Dakota, you might only be able to get $30 because there isn't the demand there. So just always check your local market.
Yeah, the prices really range, and it really depends on, but like you said, if you're going to sand it, cut it, buff it, that's a complete process.
Charge by the hour.
I see a lot of guys that are charging like $25 an hour, but they're just washing and waxing. So it really depends on what you're doing. But one thing for sure, this is hard work. You want to make sure you're covering your costs and being rewarded adequately.
All right. I see Rick came on here again. I'll go back and watch from the beginning. Okay, we'll wait. No, just joking. No, then he comes right back on here again, and he says, I apologize for asking something you covered. I really appreciate you doing this and helping us out. That is why we are here, so don't be afraid to ask.
Repeating a question, but we try to keep these short, you know. The typical human being, I'd say American, but it's human being. I mean, the popularity of reels and what's the other things, they're so short because people's attention spans are so short, you know, and to me, I actually don't care about that stuff. I want to teach some really helpful stuff that a person could take out in their own garage or their driveway and do on their own, and you can't do that in 30 seconds or 59 seconds. So those people that can go by the wayside, for all I care,
okay.
They're not my customer anyway.
All right, so anyways, moving right along, we come back on here, Renardo. He actually meant what speed you were using on the sanding step.
Oh, I was on high speed on the Sea Beast also. I made sure I had a fresh battery in. I'm down to 3 bars. I was at 4 bars, and I stuck this sucker on 6. You know, most of my Sea Beasts, I actually wrap tape around them to keep them on the 6. I never use these for anything slower, just like the Beast.
The one set guy. Okay, I don't know if this is a joke or if this is actually true. Do you have a salt chisel product, Dr. Beasley?
No, Dr. Beasley's does not have a salt chisel product. I know.
Okay.
I think Ammo makes one. There's a bunch of those on the. There's a
No,
salt.
just Kirby was coming on with the Dr. Beasley salt chisel product work on sea salt on boots.
Oh, theirs, yeah. I would have to ask Jim that. That would be my guess. Is it probably would. Yeah, salt chisel would probably work. Dr. Beasley salt chisel.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know if it's ever formulated for boats, but it should work the same as with someone a car.
Okay. All right. So let me just go through here one real quick way.
I would say I don't have
Humberto.
that product here, so I'll get it for my next boat video.
Okay. Humberto, hello. Hi. He was saying hi to everybody, so I just want to say hi.
Is that
say
first
hi.
from
first from Puerto Rico. So say hi.
And he's branded that.
I know.
Kind of like Pan the Organizer.
Well, every video, I mean, doesn't matter which place I'm working on or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, bam, first. I'm like, he just must sit at the computer.
Yeah.
All right, but anyways, thank you. I thank you for all those. All right, so now, I think that's all of them. Just going back through.
Next week, I have a 2023 Dodge Charger Swinger edition.
Okay, all right, hold on. Before you do that, I want to say this was Victor coming on. We do have a salt chisel product, but it's designed for interiors technically. Give it a shot, though. Just test in an inconspicuous area first.
Thank you, Victor.
Victor for the win! Everybody say thank you, Victor.
You know, Dr. Beasley's actually makes a very diverse, widespread product line. And I'll be the first to admit, I just have not used everything, especially these kind of outlier products. One of the things I am not known for is cleaning interiors.
Come on, you're an interior guy.
If someone brings me a car and it has a lot of salt in the interior, I'm going to do my old favorite thing, call my buddy and send it on. Hey.
Hey, Tim.
Hey.
Oh, Jim. I'm sorry. It's always Jim.
I sent it down to Robert Dietrich. Sorry, Robert.
Okay, so we hope that you learned something from this. I know I got like a little white fuzz going across me because of all the dust and everything.
Sure.
My gear has a little white dust, so please, if you do dry sanding, make sure you wear a mask because it will go in there and your lungs will always be gel coated.
Safety first.
Safety first. What, camera guy doesn't get safety here?
I have a mask over there for you.
Oh, yeah, down in the bottom
I
underneath.
just didn't get it out of the drawer.
Oh, why, thanks. See the love. You see the love. And also, he just said that what we're doing next week, so stay tuned, and we'll make sure that it's posted up everywhere, so that way you guys can simply just click, and it'll notify you when we are going live.
Yeah, this is a car, I think, with less than 100 miles on it. So
Wow.
I wasn't sure what to show on it, but I just know it is a cool car. It's kind of some metallic light green.
What is it again?
It's a 2023 Dodge Charger Swinger. So it's got.
Oh,
those
I know what it
swinger
is.
graphics.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
you
looks
know.
just like my car.
Yeah, just
the
like
only
yours.
is just a different
got some
trim.
graphics, yeah.
It's a trim package. That's
So
on
what
it.
can we do with that? Well, if you got some ideas, put them in the comments.
Oh, it's green. Oh, well, it's brand new.
It's brand new.
I don't know, maybe
Well,
how to take care of a
it's here
brand new
for
car.
ceramic coating, and the whole point is when the best time to coat a car is when they're
when it's
brand
brand
new. Because I got to do a very light paint correction before
Very
putting
light.
the coating. Very light.
And if it's like my car, the paint is very hard.
Yeah.
Which
So
I
I
love
don't wanna
about
do a paint correction.
I love that about it because it's very scratch resistant. So with that, we'll have my type of car in here, thank goodness. Yay! But like I said, like, share, subscribe, follow, all that stuff. It helps us out. And for your class, we're going to next this week.
drbeasleys.com. drbeasleys.com. And in the next day or week, we should have the schedule up there for 2024. But the classes that we have here are February, May, and September, and it's the 2 weekends after Mobile Tech Expo, and I'll be there teaching 4 different classes this year.
Oh, you're not taking over a whole room again?
Not taking over a whole room, no.
Those days are done?
Those days are done.
Okay.
I got to share the love with all the other detailers. There's great instructors there, so.
No, if you have never been to Mobile Tech Expo, it is an awesome, really cool place. You get to see a bunch of things, and I like always looking at the dents, how they pop those dents out. But it's always pretty neat.
Good networking.
All right, so with that,
my class is going to do the
No,
rest.
you get to finish that.
Basically, for my class, I kind of show them how I do right here, then kind of stand back and watch.
No, here's the white picket fence. Don't you like to paint it too?
Whitewashing the white picket fence. No, I help. I always lead by example.
All right,
always.
say bye.
See y'all later. Thanks for watching.